and I am a member of the Prince George's County Public Schools Technology Training Team, and I will be presenting this information to you this evening. We're going to review a number of key features for using Google Classroom tonight. We're going to give you a basic understanding of what Google Classroom is, how to access it, how to find and turn in work, the to-do list, guardian summaries, using the calendar, and time to address any questions at the end. Google Classroom is an instructional application that all Prince George's County Public School students have access to. And this is where all of their virtual instruction is taking place. Their work is housed inside of Google Classroom for the most part. It allows teachers to post announcements, resources, assignments, links, all sorts of things, all in one place for students to access. And we'll take a look at how this tool helps students keep track of work that they need to do and work that they have already completed. There are many ways to join Google Classroom. Sometimes it depends on the device that you're using. If you are on a computer or a Chromebook, from your Gmail account or your student's Gmail account, they have something called the App Launcher in the top right-hand corner. When they click on that, you'll see the icons that you see here on the screen, one of them being Google Classroom. Students can also access Google Classroom through our Clever portal. If students are logged into Clever, they'll also see the Google Classroom icon there. On the Chromebooks, the Google Classroom icon is on the shelf, which appears at the bottom of the screen. This is similar to a toolbar on a computer, but it is called the shelf for a Chromebook. On an iPad or mobile device, you will need to download the Google Classroom app that can be found in the Apple iTunes Store, the Apple App Store, or in the Google Play Store. And last but not least, in any browser, you can go to Google Classroom by typing classroom.google.com. Prince George's County Public Schools has asked teachers to invite students to their classroom via an email invitation. The teacher has already entered the names of their students, and when students log into Google Classroom, they'll be able to see the option to join. On the left-hand side, you see a sample email. This is what it looks like in the student email when a teacher asks them to join the class. They can click the blue Join button right in the email to begin getting started in that class. Or if they open Google Classroom, they will see tiles for each class. And a class that is being, the student has been invited to and not yet joined will also have that same blue Join button. So let's go in and take a look at the student side of Google Classroom. And I just want to confirm, because I can't quite see in WebEx what you're seeing, I want to ensure that right now, if one of the other panelists could just confirm that on the screen you're seeing multiple tiles for Google Classroom now and not the presentation.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Okay, so here we see multiple Google Classrooms. Some of them I'm already a member of, some of them I'm not. The ones that I have not yet joined, you see I have the blue Join button. So this is our sample classroom for tonight. As the student, I'm going to go ahead and select Join. Now I have entered the Google Classroom as a student. When you first enter the classroom, the page that we start on is called the stream. You'll notice that there are 3 different tabs across the top, and stream is illuminated in color with a line underneath. This indicates it is the tab that we are currently viewing. Here we can see announcements from the teacher, Miss Conti. She's welcoming us to the class and letting us know that progress reports will be released on the 20th. I can also see a classmate has made a comment. If I would like to respond to my classmate or the teacher, I can add a comment for this announcement here. So I will say, thank you, Miss Conti. I hope my grades are good so far. Then I will click on the orange arrow on the right-hand side to post my message. Other students will be able to see my message here as well. Okay, so we can see all of the class comments for our announcements. Also in the stream, on the left-hand side, you'll notice a box that says Upcoming. And this gives us a nice quick preview of things that are due for this class coming up. If I'd like to look at all of them, I do have the option to view all. And you'll notice when I scroll over them, they become illuminated and I can click them to open the assignment. I'm not going to do that now. Instead, we're going to move to the Classwork tab. At the top of the page, I'm going to click on Classwork. The Classwork tab is where the majority of materials, assignments, and resources will be posted by the teacher. The organization of the Classwork tab can vary greatly depending on grade level, teacher preferences, student needs, the number of teachers working in the Google Classroom, and the course content. So the first thing we'll talk about are the topics. On the right-hand side, again, we see in orange the illuminated word is all topics. Beneath that, I have a list of topics. Some of them are content, science topics, math topics, reading, English language arts topics. These can vary. The topics also show here in the main flow of the Classwork tab. So I have warm-up, argumentative essay, then we see our science, our math, and so on. Keep in mind that these topics could be each day's assignments, they could be by week, they could be by subject area. So just be prepared to take a few minutes for each classroom to get familiar with the structure that your teacher or your child's teacher has chosen for that class. Okay? Underneath each topic are the assignments or the materials. Okay? And right now you'll notice that these ones up here are all illuminated in orange. First one, warm up, shows the question icon, meaning it's a question. that I have been assigned, and the due date on the right I can see is October 9th. When I click on the assignment, I get a preview. I can see the teacher's directions. I can see that there's a link to something else. I'm going to select at the very bottom, View Question. This is going to open the assignment fully for me. And now you can see that in addition to what we saw before, I have some additional options. The directions here ask me to respond to a question using another platform called Flipgrid. This is a video recording tool. To access this material and go to Flipgrid, I'll need to click here. So I would come into this and I would make my recording, record my response, and then I'm done here. I've done that portion of it, so I'm going to close that. When I come back here, my teacher still does not know that I have completed the work, because as you can see on the right-hand side in the top corner, it is not turned in. This green here says that it's been assigned, and there's nothing here except a space to type my answer. So here is where I'll let the teacher know, this was fun. I liked this assignment. And now you'll see, since I have typed a response, the button to turn in the assignment is now illuminated, and I am able to turn this assignment in. Before I do that, I do want to point out two other items. Beneath the assignment, you'll notice a section that says Class Comments. I am able to type comments in this space, and those comments would be viewable to the entire class. Now, if I'm struggling with this assignment and I need assistance, I may not want my classmates to know that. No worries. I can come to the right-hand side where it says Private Comments and type a comment in here that only the teacher and I will see. So I will leave a note for the teacher saying that I hope I did it correctly, but if not, could I please try again? I must remember not just to type it, but to also click the paper plane icon or the triangle icon to post the message. Not sure why I'm getting an error with that. Okay. Now that I have completed the assignment, I'm going to select the Turn In button. And it's going to ask me, am I sure? Because once I turn it in, I won't be able to change my answer. I'm going to select yes, please turn it in. You'll notice that it now says it's turned in. And because this is a question, now it gives me the option to see what my classmates' answers were. Okay, so I can't see anyone else's answers until I have submitted my own answer first. Okay, now there are other types of assignments that we're going to take a look at. To navigate back to the classroom, because now my tabs up top don't say Stream, Classwork, and People. Now this is specific to the question. It's my answer and classmate answers. I need to get back to the classwork page. So I'm going to click on the title of my Google Classroom in the top left-hand corner. Anytime I click this, it will bring us back here to the stream. And then I'm able to select Classwork to go into my classwork again. You'll notice now that the icon for the warm-up is no longer orange and illuminated because I have completed the assignment. It's done. So now I know that by the color very quickly that that is completed. Okay. We do have a couple of other important types of assignments we'd like to point out for you. So I'm going to take a look at I believe it was the math. Yes, I'm going to take a look at the math assignment. I see it's assigned. I will click View Assignment. Now this time, I do have directions here, but I see a link to something else. So when I read this, I notice in the top right-hand corner under Your Work, there's something here already. This means that the teacher has shared a file with the class, and in this particular instance, it actually has made a copy just for me. So I am logged in as Google User 1, and you'll notice that my name, Google User 1, appears first. That's my copy, and that means the teacher wants me to do the work here. So I will click on that to open the assignment. This happens to be a Google slide assignment. The first slide is showing me directions with a little Bitmoji icon of my teacher explaining the distributive property. And the television has a video right inside that I can play and watch to learn more about this particular property. The second slide is where I'll do the work. So right now, everything is blank. Where it says name, I will click in the box and add my name. Then click in the next box and add the date, and so on. Then I can go to each of the boxes below to begin typing my answers. This is how your student would complete this type of assignment. Now, because this is in Google Slides, you'll notice at the top of my window here, I have my slide presentation and my Google Classroom are two separate tabs. Let's pretend that I've finished all of this work and I've answered all these questions. I'm going to click the X to close out of that slide presentation. And now in Google Classroom, again, just because I've done the work in the slides does not mean I have turned in the assignment, okay? It's like marking on the paper and not turning it into the teacher. We have to make sure that students are doing both steps. So digitally, we're going to come back over here. The presentation is still there. My work is automatically saved. It's there, I promise you. In fact, I'll click it open just to show you. The great thing about working in Google is there is no need to click save. It automatically saves every time we go in and we do work. So I can just click the X when I'm done. My work is saved and I'm ready to turn in, okay? Now, if I had additional work or I needed to turn in something else, for example, if I did the work on paper and I wanted to show my work, I would be able to take a photograph of that work and email it to myself so that the photo could be in my Google Drive or on my computer. And underneath my Google Slides here is the option Add or Create. So I'll click that. And here we see the options to add a file. This is really important for especially our very young students to be able to get some of their work that they're doing that's not on the computer and showing the teacher what that looks like. So if the work is in Google Drive, you can add it from Google Drive. If the work is on your computer or your device, you can add it by selecting File. Once you have the work here, the button to turn in will be illuminated. So I'm going to turn this in. Again, it's going to ask, do you want to turn this in? Yes, turn in. You'll notice now that in our Your Work box, there has been another change. The option to upload is gone, but now I have an Unsubmit button. So let's say that I made a mistake in my math calculations. I rushed and I turned in my work. My mom came home and checked my work and showed me where I had made several mistakes and I'd like to correct them. I can come in here and select Unsubmit. It's going to confirm, do you really want to do that? So yes, Unsubmit. And you'll notice now, again, it says assigned. So if I unsubmit prior to the due date, that's no problem. If I unsubmit after the due date and then turn it in again, my work is going to be marked late. Okay, so I'll go ahead and turn that in. And again, to get back to the rest of our classwork, I'm going to click on the title of my classroom in the top left-hand corner and then select the classwork tab. Okay. So again, you see that the warm-up now and the math assignment are both grayed out, indicating that I have completed those. Okay. I'm going to come down to one more. Here we have an independent practice assignment. And here, again, this assignment directs me to go to an outside or external platform. We have many of these across the district. These include programs like iRead, iReady, Dreambox, Khan Academy. Depending on the grade level and the curriculum, there may be a number of resources that are not inside of Google Classroom, but the teacher and student can connect to. So the teacher will give the directions stating, complete this lesson on that platform and link it here. Remember that when that occurs, it's critical that the student comes back and selects Mark as done so the teacher knows that you have finished the work or your student has finished the work. So I'm going to say, I've gone here, I've done this, I made my recording. So now I'm ready to mark it as done. So the teacher knows I have finished. Now the teacher can go into this program, whatever this platform is, and check my work in there. Okay. All right, I'm just going to pause for a moment and check the chat to see if there are any questions, and also to check with the call-in lines to see if there are any questions as we're moving through. I don't see anything in chat, so from any of our interpreters, are there any questions on a call-in line or? Okay, seeing and hearing none, I will go ahead and continue. So we've talked about our stream and our classwork. These are the critical pieces for one class at a time. But depending on the school structure and the grade level, students may have many classrooms and will need to know strategies and tools to manage multiple classrooms. So next to the title of our classroom are 3 lines, And I'm going to click on those 3 lines and it will bring up a menu. I'm going to select the home icon for classes. This will navigate back to the first screen we started at. This is our Google Classroom homepage. And there are some useful tools on this page that can really help organize student work and make sure that students are completing everything on time. We're going to start with the to-do list. When I select the to-do list, I find 3 tabs across the top: assigned, missing, and done. These are for the work in all of my classes together. So before, we were only looking at one class. Now I'm looking at all of my classes. What are my assignments? The first thing we're going to see are assignments that have no due date. So for these assignments, I can see when they were posted, but they didn't have a due date associated with them. Okay. Before those would be, let me select this week. I have none, but next week I have 3. So let me select that. Next week, upcoming assignments, I can see that I have 3 assignments due next week and that they are from the same class because the color of the icon is the same. If I go back to no due date, you'll notice that there are many colors. Each color represents a different class that I'm enrolled in. Okay? So that can be another way to help me keep track of different assignments that are due for different teachers. Now, if teachers are not using due date, you'll have the issue here that we have, which is we know when it was assigned, but we don't know when it's due. Okay? So you'll need to communicate with the teacher if you have a lot of assignments with no due dates. There is also a drop down that allows me to select, instead of all classes, if I'd like to check each class one by one, I can select one class and it will just show me the work for that particular class. It's relatively easy to navigate between them to see individually and overall. For now, I'll leave it at all classes, and let's move to another tab. This first tab, we've been looking at work that's assigned. That's work I have not completed yet. Let's go to missing. Missing are assignments that were assigned to me and I did not turn them in on time. So you can see I have several assignments from last week that I did not submit. And those assignments are from 2 different classrooms. Okay. Next is the done section. I can click that tab. And here I can see items that have been turned in. This particular section are the items I turned in tonight. And you'll notice they say turned in. They're in the done early section. So they're not due just yet. They're due later in the week, but I finished them early. Okay. Here are some other items I've turned in for other courses. And I can see that for some of them, my teachers have graded my assignments. For example, my choice board got 90 out of 100 points. For any assignment on any of these 3 tabs, I can click on the assignment to open it up and look at it. Okay, so now I'm in this Google Classroom looking at this assignment that my teacher has graded, and I can see that she had some feedback for me. Don't forget next time to cite my sources. That's probably why I missed a few points. So always be careful to check for feedback. To navigate back to where I was, I can click the back button on my browser. That's the fastest way to get back to this page, okay? All right, so we've talked about a lot. I'm actually going to go back to the home page again off of our to-do page. And now we're going to talk about our calendar. When students are enrolled in multiple classes and they've got assignments for each of those classes to take care of and Zoom meetings to join for each of those classes, it can get a bit overwhelming. But Google Classroom does come with a built-in calendar, and it's great for helping stay organized along with that to-do tool. So let's click the calendar and take a look. Here I can see all of the upcoming assignments on my calendar. I have an independent activity that's due tomorrow, and on Friday I have another assignment due. So I can look at each individual class again because I have this drop down if I want to see um, week to week or class by class. So if I go back a week, you can see here are some assignments for that Google Classroom, and I can go back to all. You'll notice that each classroom has its own color, even on the calendar, okay? Again, the great thing is if I'm looking at the calendar, I can click on any one of these to open up directly to what that assignment is, okay? So this can be a really good tool, especially at middle and high school, for students to be able to view and manage all of their work in a timely fashion. They'll see everything laid out for the day, for the week, to be able to monitor what they need to do, okay? All right, that is the bulk of the student experience for navigating Google Classroom. There is one other tab, which is the People tab, and that is just going to show the teachers and other students that are enrolled in the course so that if I needed to email a teacher or one of my classmates, I could do so from that tab, okay? All right, so going back to the presentation, a quick review of what we've talked about from the student point of view in Classroom tonight. And we are going to share this presentation with you so that you will be able to come back and refer to it as you're working with your students or your children in Google Classroom. So we talked about how to access assignments and how to turn them in. Okay, we looked at previewing the assignments and then viewing the assignments, turning them in, adding files to an assignment. We can do that from our Google Drive or a link or from a file on our device. Okay. We looked at turning assignments in, and we looked at marking assignments done when the work actually occurs, not in Google Classroom, but in another platform that we're using. Students need to remember to come back and mark things as done so that the teacher knows they have completed the work in that other area. We talked about being able to use private comments between the student and teacher, as well as class comments. We looked at how to unsubmit an assignment if you've decided that you need that work back to make adjustments. We showed how to do that as well. We looked at some organizational tools that can help keep track of student work, including the to-do list. We looked at how to view a single class's items as well as all class items at the same time. Okay, we took a look at in our to-do list that there were assignments that were assigned still, meaning they're not turned in yet, that were coming due, assignments that were missed and not turned in on time, and then things that were done and are completed. We also took a look at Google Classroom's calendar, where we can see multiple assignments due from multiple classrooms all on one calendar that is a quick, easy way to access the work that students need to do. So let's talk about the Guardian summaries. In order to receive Guardian summaries, the teacher will send an invitation via email. This means you need to give the teacher a working email address. They will type that into the Google Classroom and you will receive an email. That Guardian summary is not access into the Google Classroom. It is not the same thing as your student logging in. It's a completely different view. And it's meant to be an overview. It will show you any work that is missing, any upcoming work, and class activity that is going on in the Google Classroom. But it will not give you direct access to Google Classroom. So this is meant to help you be aware of the work that your child is being asked to do. Okay. I have here on the screen a sample of a Guardian summary. You can choose when you receive the email whether you would like to get a daily summary or a weekly summary. Now, I know many parents this school year have chosen a daily summary because we are entirely online at this point in time. And it is easier to monitor with a daily summary rather than a weekly summary, which can be overwhelming and an awful lot of information and assignments once per week. Okay, so that choice is up to you, but you'll see that there is missing work due next week, items that are coming up are all listed in that email, as well as the due dates so that you're aware of when the assignments are due. Okay. You will not see grades or the full assignment. You won't be able to click on those assignment links. It's not going to open anything up for you. It is just informational. So I am going to pause now. I know that's a lot of information. I will pause to see if we have any questions. I'm happy to answer them. And if you want to be unmuted, just raise your hand icon. If you need to be unmuted to ask your question, I believe we can do that. No questions. All right. We do have a number of resources to support you. We have on your screen, you'll see links to this presentation, and I will go ahead and try to paste those in this chat for you. So that should open the Spanish The Spanish version, and let me get the English. And we do also have that in French as well. Paste that one just to be thorough. And we also have at the very bottom our parent resource website. And let me paste the link for that into the chat as well. Okay, so our parent resource site provides information on everything that you saw this evening in multiple languages, how to access and do different tasks in Google Classroom. It is even laid out by device. So if you're on a cell phone, you're on a mobile device, and you need to know how to upload an assignment, you can come here for those directions. If you want to know more about the different types of things that the teachers might post, well, they can post assignments, questions, quizzes, and materials. We didn't show all of those this evening, but you can come here to find more information for those. This is a pretty expansive website. We do, if you go to the homepage, have a number of distance learning resources for you. We have information for our Parent Center hotline. But if you scroll to the bottom of that homepage, we actually have lots of resources for a number of supports that you may find helpful. Tonight, we're talking about Google Classroom, but we also have resources for Clever, our platform that students and teachers are using for their textbook access and many of their learning materials and resources. We have Zoom and Google Meet, password support. If you need help with your device, if you have a need for assistance with testing, and as well as information about hotspots, drive-up Wi-Fi, and our SchoolMax family portal. So this is a great website for you to come back to if you need additional supports and resources. So having said that, that is the end of the presentation for the night. Thank you so much for your attention, for attending and coming tonight. Please, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I am more than happy to address any questions.
Do we have any questions from the attendees? We can unmute their mics if they would like to raise their hand. And the interpreters can help us with answering their questions. If not, I would like to thank T3 and Gina for being with us tonight. I'm going to share the flyer for the parent workshops in the flyer in Spanish. We look forward to hopefully having you at a later session in October or early in November. And if you don't have any more questions or anything else, feel free to leave, and we look forward to seeing you at a future workshop. Thank you. Thank you to our interpreters for helping us out tonight. We appreciate you being there with us.
Of course. Thank you for having us. You have a great evening.
You too, Wilbur.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I just realized I had it on all panelists when I was posting in chat and not everyone. So I'm